Hello you, Nick from the other 10% here, and this is going to be the second episode of my Oxygen Not Included playthrough, the Monkey Hole. My asteroid is called the Monkey Hole. You can see it there, cycle 5. First thing I want to do is I want to address a couple of issues with the previous video. I probably spend an awful lot of my time apologising. That is part of being English. Apologising but not really making up for things. That's another part of being English. And in this case, the first thing I want to apologise for is I've listened back to that previous episode, and admittedly my voice isn't gonna get much more like varied in tone than it is right now. But I sounded half asleep through most of that last episode. Hopefully that's something I can try and, I'm not... Passion, lack of passion really is kind of my brand, if a human being can honestly be said to have a brand. And so I'm not going to pretend it's ever going to be perfect. I'm not going to be one of those super exciting sounding people, but I think that what I lack in enthusiasm, I make up for with crushing self-awareness. I did start going to therapy a few months ago, but I asked specifically that the crushing self-awareness and the lack of enthusiasm would be something we'd keep intact, because obviously where would I be without those? So we're not working on those. We're really studiously not working on those, and I believe we're both happy with our lack of progress in those areas. So but I think we can do better probably than the last episode. I think I can probably be a little bit more excitable than last time. It's similarly as late as it was when I recorded that last episode, but I'm more crushingly self-aware of my miserable soundingness. Once when I was in a comic shop, the young lady behind the counter said to me, "Oh, you sound just like that robot." And I said, "Oh, which robot?" And she said, "Oh, Marvin, the paranoid android." And I said, "Oh." And she said, No, it's really cool. I like it. I think some people find it relaxing. I don't know. I didn't really take it as a compliment though. Anyway, the other thing is that in the previous episode, this is actually a factual error that I can do something about, as opposed to the other thing, which is more an existential problem that I'm just going to have to deal with. Is that in the previous episode I referred to, because it's been a while since I played Oxygen Not Included, and I hadn't played it since the launch. I got a bit confused, and I said about one feature in it, "Oh, this is exciting. This used to be something that you could only get in a mod. It was like a flow splitter for the plumbing and the ventilation functions in the game." And I got very excited, and I said, "Oh, these used to only be able to get these in the mod, and now it's actually part of the game." But of course, I'd forgotten that I actually still had the mods switched on. So just to with Oxygen Not Included, I tend to play a fairly vanilla game compared to other things. Like I haven't gone back to RimWorld, which is another game I love to play, in a really long time, because I had so many mods running with that. And an upgrade came along and broke most of the mods, and I got massive anxiety about going back and trying to sort out all those mods again. So game people, especially PC game people, game developers, look after your modding community. Otherwise, you're actually causing anxiety out there for people like me who can't get a damn grip. Anyway, so the mods I'm playing with, most of these you can ignore for now. I might go into more detail about them later. Gas overlay is a really useful visualization tool. So is bigger camera zoom out. Bigger building menu also helps with the UI. half door I haven't used a lot of. Blueprints is new, and I'm hoping to make use of that today. Maybe not today, because it's probably a little bit nerve-wracking to be trying new things. Plan buildings without materials, conveyor rail filter. Don't worry about those. This is the one here, flow splitters. I forgot I had it switched on, and I got really excited that they'd put it in the main game, but no, it's still just a mod, I'm afraid. So anyway, all that embarrassing apology aside, let's have a look at the game. Now, this is called the Monkey Hole, after the first podcast I did with some local friends called the Monkey on My Back podcast. It's just going to tell us about the mods that weren't on here last time. And it's a humble little asteroid. I've gone for the basic setup. So far I only have 3 of these guys, these duplicants. James Momb, Max and John Momb. James Momb and John Momb were my 2 earliest colleagues on the Monkey on My Back podcast. So I'm going to rather unimaginatively name some of these duplicants after people I know, and hope that I don't accidentally kill them. Anyway, so this is oxygen not included. This is the monkey hole. Let's see what's going on. Now, what I'm hoping to do with this episode is I'm going to cover the next 5 cycles or days. Look at them going happily about their business. And what I really want to do by the end of this session is have these guys their own little bedrooms, because they get a little bit of a buff from the bedrooms. At the moment they've got this open air dorm which they get nothing from. But if you look here in the bedroom, it gives them morale 2 for the whole time that they're spending asleep in there. A barracks would give them +1. At the moment they're literally just in this bed here. Stress isn't a huge problem at this point in the game. You can see up here that my guys have highest stress 0. You can see it again here. But you can see under here that there's a change per cycle, a downwards spiral basically per cycle, that I think at the moment they're only really recovering from yeah, actually no, that isn't a downward cycle, is it? That's keeping their stress low. But you can see it's sort of going as the day goes, as they get their buff from sleeping, and they get their buff from chatting to each other and stuff like that. As the environment gets a little bit more crowded, as they get to eat a bit less, because I'll run out of food at some point, almost definitely. They'll get a bit tired maybe. The toilets will get out of order, which I hope to also address this episode a little bit anyway. Yeah, they can get pretty stressed pretty quickly, and these guys are all ugly criers, so there's going to be a lot of crying. Oh, I've got an achievement. Achievements are new. They didn't have this pre-launch. So, have at least 1 toilet in the colony and a bed for every duplicant. It's not a lot to ask for. Not really a lot to ask for, to be honest. It's pretty much the bare minimum you could expect. It's basically prison conditions for these guys. So I'm not even going to look at these other achievements. I'm not that bothered about achievements in games, to be honest. So now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a space there for when I can build my next research bit. And I'm going to put the bedrooms, I think I'm going to put them up here. And what you might start to see here is the beginnings of my dysfunction. I talked about that a little bit in the last episode, where I start to overplan things and plan ahead too much for the future and lose track of what's going on in the present. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to just check was I'm going to put in, just so I don't forget, I'm going to put in a layer of tile to be built there, just because I'm a little bit worried that I'll forget about all of this slime mold here, which is disgusting. This slime lung infested slime. Let's be exact. So 2 research things have been completed. I've discovered plumbing with those splitters, and I've got lavatories, mesh tiles and showers. Those are all quite cool. Lavatories and showers and sinks are a much better version of the hygiene stuff I've got here. And mesh tile is a sort of tile that stuff drops through and air goes through, really crucially air goes through. Right, so what I want to do, what I might do is I'll pause here for a minute. I'd forgotten totally about this crazy... they've changed the research menu. It used to be much more compressed, and granted, I think if you know what you're looking for and there's a filter up here now, it's going to be a lot easier to use this. But for now, it's a little bit intense. It's much bigger than it used to be. It is much tidier, to be fair. So I think the first thing I'm going to need to do is... I'm going to get myself ready for advanced research. The reason for that is that right here, under distillation, is the water filter, the water sieve, sorry. And that sieves out polluted water from water. Sorry. Probably an easier way to describe it is it produces clean water from polluted water, which is exactly what it says there. And that's because my favoured sort of shower and bathroom setup involves recycling polluted water through. So I'm going to try and get that up and running before I start worrying too much about setting up my bathrooms. So, right. Also, I want to set up the blueprint for... Not the blueprint, but I want to start setting up the bedrooms. And I'm not going to worry too much about these toilets. They're not going to be there for very long. Although what I must remember to do, please remind me if you can, viewer. Not that you can, that's impractical. But I must remember to make sure I've got the new toilets set up before I get rid of the old toilets, because things get pretty disastrous if your guys don't have toilets. Right. I say guys, they are all guys at the moment. Hopefully that won't last for very long. It's a bit of a sausage fest at the moment. Is sausage fest a sexual thing? I want to roll back saying sausage fest. It sounds a bit gross now that I say it out loud. I mean a boy aganza. Tell you what, I'll workshop that. I'll try and work out a better way of putting that. Right, so looking at this up here and the room overlay, bedrooms have to be a minimum of 12 tiles, and ideally they'll have a decor item in them, which I haven't actually got the ability to make just yet, but I can plan ahead for it. And each one has to have a comfy bed in it, which I won't be able to give them for a little while, but I can again plan ahead for it. And they have to be minimum they have to be minimum height 4 tiles, and they have to be, they can't be bigger than 64 tiles. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna have to create them a barracks first, aren't I? Because the oh, I know what I'll do. This is easily solved. Okay, what I can do is I can set up my rooms. The reason I can't set up rooms is I won't have comfy beds for a little while, and I won't have decor items. Like, hopefully I'll get those a little bit sooner. But yeah, I wanna grab that little morale boost that they get from sleeping in a barracks. I don't want to wait until I get the bedrooms, because I won't have comfy beds for a while. Comfy beds take a little bit of time to research. Where are they in the... luxury, comfy. There. So home luxuries, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I'm not really bothered about getting in the lead up to the home luxuries. So I don't know how soon I'll actually have those comfy beds. Anyway, taking forever to get to doing anything. Right. So let's get an idea of how big these showers are going to be, because I'm thinking I might. Those are 2 each. The lavatories are 2 each. Right. So I think 2. I think I'm overthinking it, aren't I? I'm doing that thing I said I wasn't going to do, and I'm overthinking it. What I'm going to do is let's put this line in here so that without the heat on, I can tell where I want my limits of the limits of my base to be. So I think what I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3. Here. I think this is where I'm going to have it. So have their bedrooms or their barracks start. So 4 high, 3 wide. Right. And luckily, because I've got a mod on that allows me to, normally in the vanilla version of the game, when you one thing I'm going to have to get used to with recording videos, me pointing at the screen, you can't actually see that. I'm going to have to be very strict with myself about that. But in the vanilla version of the game, you can't actually, when you're trying to lay down items like I'm doing here, it won't let you do it if you don't have the resources to make them. But with the mod I've got I've got a mod basically that allows me to get around that. So how hot is this around here? Can I get away with going a bit further? Yeah, I think I can. Let's go up to here then. So I'm going to put down mesh tile, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I want air to move around quite freely in these rooms. Especially up and down, basically, especially on the vertical. And I'll put a pneumatic door on the end there. These are going to be really basic rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Again, oxygen isn't too much of an issue at this point in the game, but it will become an issue really, really quickly. So what I'm going to do is put those cots there, dig a bit there. Right. And what I've just realised is there's not going to be any air going. There's not going to be an awful lot of air going down here. What I want to try and do is keep as little dugout as possible so that what air I do have isn't too spread out. Okay, and the gas overlay I got in the mods makes it a lot easier to see what gases are swirling around and how dense those gases are. You can see there's an awful lot of oxygen in this space up here, which I might dig up into. But once I do dig up into it, I'm going to have to keep it filled. And at the moment, things are okay down here, I think. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig these guys a little channel up to here. And I might put some sort of air source down here as well. There's already this oxylite. Actually, let's start on that now. And I'm actually cheating a little bit here because I don't really like... There are certain things about the way these guys get around that I don't really like. I think what we're going to find is that John Mom is going to be able to fit through this little one space gap that he makes here. And it doesn't... It seems like a bit of fudge. It doesn't seem like they'd be able to fit through there, but... Not the way they move, anyway. And at some point what I'll do is I'll bury these wires a little bit in... you can bury them in walls and stuff, because they're pretty ugly. These guys don't like looking at them very much. What I'm going to do is try and create as much oxygen as possible. Right. I've said before I'm going to try and keep my base relatively tidy. Ooh, more stations. I've obviously managed to research something? No. Oh no, it's just telling me that because I've managed to dig up some resources here. Okay. Ooh, and what's happened here is I think some sand's fallen down, and they don't know to dig through the sand when they see it. So I'm going to set them to harvest the plants that they can. Just, it can't hurt really. Oh, I don't really want them to harvest that. Yeah, it can't hurt for them to have their own food sources. There's John Mom over here, snoring away. James Mom has got more athletic from running around. That's good. He's busy. The actual James Mom will probably get a bit of a kick out of that. And out of his awesome hair. I'm very, very fond of the actual James Mom, but his hair is not as awesome as this, guys. Oh, I looked to one side to drink my lemonade, and I lost track of where he was. Right, so there's Max. John Mom's sleeping. James Mom is generating some electricity. You can see that these the oxygen diffusers can only actually output when the air pressure isn't too high. At the moment it's reached max gas pressure around here for the oxygen diffuser, which is about, yeah, it's about 2,000 grams maybe? I'm not sure. So James Mom managed to dig up someone managed to dig up a muckroot over here, which James Mom has just eaten. Because he will literally eat anything. Muckroot is it's really disgusting. It's literally I guess it's like a potato. It's a root vegetable, like it, isn't it? Obviously, because it's called muckroot, and they're like one use only. You can't farm them or anything, but they really are disgusting. So muckroot is an aggressively invasive yet exceedingly delicate root plant known for its earthy flavour and unusual texture. That makes it sound way nicer than the name suggests. If you look at the stats for it, it's grisly. The quality of it as a foodstuff is grisly. They don't really like eating it. But I guess he didn't want to eat one of the nutrient bars for some reason. I'm not sure why that would be. There's John Mom still beavering away down here. Having a pleasant chit chat. And I've just realised, actually, that these guys have skill points that I can give them. Now, I always forget about this because... Oh, someone's attributes have increased. Max's athletics have raised one. Because in the old version of the game, I think they just leveled up as they went around and did things. And then you could give them specific jobs. And they've changed how the job system and the skill system work. They changed it a couple of upgrades ago, actually, a few upgrades ago, and I haven't quite got used to it, basically. So Max is, I want him to really be better at research, so I'm going to give him advanced research, even though it's not one of the things that he's super skilled in. I'm going to kind of need him to be good at research, so I'm going to give him that. And I think it just saves it if I close it, right? Oh, so here's some imperatives. I have to survive 200 cycles, maintain 16 morale, print 12 duplicants. Oh. Build a great monument. Okay. Some stuff there I did not really know about. So Max's science has gone up. What am I mainly using him for? Construction. So James' mom is going to get better at construction. Just a change of career for him. He used to really work in procurement. He's a very creative guy though, so construction might suit him. I don't know. There he is, getting his skill point. These guys can now build a water cooler. I'm not going to bother with that, I don't think. I'm just going to tick on these. Just going to tick these so that... I'm not really bothered with the water cooler. So here they're all beavering away. Now what John Mom just did is he delivered some dirt. The basic research station requires dirt to function, and I think the advanced research station also needs water. I'm not sure why they need dirt. I guess it's just a raw material they're using, I'm not sure. So I'm going to up the priority on the actual bedrooms, because I really want those to be finished today. Like, while we're still young. Come on, John Mom. Hurry up. Now this is actually a bit too high up for them, so what I'm going to do is give them a bit of help in the shape of ladder. Let's speed this up so we can see what's going on here. Ooh. New printables are available. So, okay, this is interesting. So, it used to be the case that at the blueprint stage you could only print new duplicants, and recently they've started including items and elements in recent upgrades. And one thing that you're going to probably find is that this is where I have my most surprising moments, because this is when I find new creatures and stuff I wasn't really expecting. Rust is a new element. I didn't really know what to do with it. I wasn't planning on bringing in anyone new just yet, to be honest. I wasn't planning on bringing in any new duplicants. I was going to try and keep it a bit manageable, but... oh, hang on. Oh... that's a shame. Abe is an ugly crier. You probably worked out I love ugly criers, but I don't want to have a weak guy this early into the game. Sure, it doesn't matter, but I don't need him, so I'm not going to bother. Maybe I will get Rust just so I've got it around. So that's arrived, and it's going to be 3 cycles before the next thing shows up. So there's that to look forward to. That's exciting. Right, and I've got no research focus because my advanced research is completed. So, research. I was going to go for the distillation thing because I want to get this water filter, this water sieve. So on the way there we've got filtration, gas filter, liquid filter, both of which are quite useful, very, very useful in fact. And then all of these distillation items, some of which this is new. Ethanol, I guess for use of as a fuel maybe. Canister emptier and algae distiller. I haven't used those a lot, to be honest, but this water sieve is super important. And to get there, I don't know if you noticed, but that now we've got both this top value here, 0 out of 30, it shows our progress, but this other value, the slightly darker, the more purple or magenta science symbol, just shows advanced research, which means I need to get a supercomputer. But luckily, that's now one of my items. I don't think I'm going to keep my research room here for the whole game, but for now it's pretty useful to have it near both a water and a dirt source. Okay. Uh-oh, building entombment. So I'm going to go look at my building entombment situation, and it's here. It's basically they were digging and sand has dropped. Sand is one of the few elements that actually pays attention to gravity, and once it's dropped they don't always know what to do with it. Oh, James' mum is eating another muckroot now. They're going for downtime, so they're having the downtime, and then in a minute Max, I think, is the guy who's on a slightly different schedule. Is that right? No, it's John Mum who snores. So these two are going to go to bed, and he's going to go off and do other things. Oh, John Mum, you buffoon. There's no time for that. Let's up the priority on this. I'm not entirely convinced. Well, I'm not entirely sure how the priorities are managed. I guess I haven't really given John Momb a specific priority, which is why he's just kind of pootling around. I mean, obviously, priorities are if you've allowed the duplicant to do a particular thing like building or digging or whatever, they're going to look at the things that are higher priority first, as far as this function's concerned. But I don't know how that marries up with the priorities, like what difference in weighting there is for each item. Whether they'll do all of... I think it's probably the case that they'll do all of the... Say, Max will do all of the tidying tasks before there's anything else to do. Yeah, he's disinfecting the outhouses. Wonder if anyone's got skills. Yeah, I thought so. John Momb has skills. Right. So, what am I mainly using him for? Mainly using him for digging, I think, aren't I? Let's see. Yeah, John Momb I haven't really decided on anything for yet, but James Momb has building covered. Maybe I'll let this guy follow his bliss a little bit. Yeah. These guys are looking a bit sad because the air quality over here is not as good. So maybe what I need to do is... maybe I'll up the priority on this bit first. Max just had a narcoleptic collapse. Now they're going to have a bit of trouble here, so... Look at them go! It is satisfying to watch them work, I think. I love how their tools are basically like the I can't remember what they were called, but the weapons they use in Ghostbusters, basically. Cool. So Max is done. John Momb's sleeping his head off up there. What I'm just doing here is I'm just setting up the next bunch of rooms, but it's not intensely urgent that they get those sorted. some reason I didn't have Max down to research. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so they've got their beds, so now I can deconstruct these ones and they'll go and sleep in their little barracks. Let's just check that the game's recognizing it as a barracks. Yeah, so they get a morale bonus for sleeping in there for the whole time that they're actually in there, which is quite nice. If there are any new rooms. Mess hall, great hall. Oh, so great hall is just a mess hall with lots of decor in there. Park. At least 2 wild plants. What? That's all new. Ooh, so it's under food. Well, that's pretty weird. But pretty cool, right. I probably won't be getting that on purpose, but I'll end up just getting that sign as part of my normal research into food. So no hurry, I'll look into that later. It's quite exciting. Oh, Max, stop falling asleep, my goodness. Yes, we're all tired. But you need to research advanced... okay, research. So filtration. And now you've got to research distillation before the end of day 9, which I don't think you're going to manage, to be honest. I'm going to change the priority on these because they're not really important. Despite what people say. Oh dear, they can't get to their beds. How did that happen? I can't believe John Mom's tidying when he should be building and digging. Oh no, they've both got such sore backs. That's really embarrassing. But now if we look under plumbing, I've got the option for the liquid filter and ventilation, which is quite nice. No air filter yet. Oh, James Mum, this is not a priority. Come on. Clean bedrooms is more of a priority. So I'm going to change those to 6. The electricity is already 7. And I think it's worth checking at this point that the circuit I've got is well within safety, like safe operating parameters. So most circuits, or these basic circuits, can only really have 1,000 watts running across them. And at the moment what it's telling me is that the potential power consumed across items is 660 watts. You can see a breakdown here of the different power consumers on this particular circuit. Yeah, so that comes under the right amount. Right. So I guess right now I want my focus to be Max finishing all of the research he needs to do. I don't think he's going to get it done by the end of today, which is a shame. So I wanted to get started on the bathrooms, but it's okay. There's no rush. Oop. These 3 days went fast. I don't want either of these guys, Bubbles or Raider, because binge eaters and vomiters are just going to be a lot of trouble. Don't necessarily want a joy seed, so let's get some water. Print. Yeah, 2,000 kilograms of water in a bottle. And it's going to be 3 days before the next item. Okay. Okay, so John Mom is carrying out his novice research. Oh, I'm running out of electricity in the process. Max and James Mom are sleeping the sleep of the just sleepy. Oh, now they're awake. I think that's as good a time to leave it as any. I was hoping that we'd have researched the... Oh, there you go. Max has started researching. I was hoping that we'd have researched distillation by now and I could get started on the bathrooms, but that'll be next time. I think it'll be quite early next time with both these guys on the job. There's James' mom supplying them with water and I guess dirt as well. So that's that. Thank you for watching and hopefully enjoying. If you've got constructive criticism or you want to say you enjoy it, obviously if you want to say enjoy it, just leave a comment or a like or find me on Twitter. I'm Nick Site. We Have Issues, which is the main podcast we do, is Issues Pod. Or you can comment under this video. If you've got constructive criticism, always happy to hear constructive criticism. I prefer the poo sandwich way of you have a compliment at the beginning and then the criticism and then the compliment at the end. If that's a lot of work for you because you're socially maladjusted or something, that's fine. Just bear in mind I can't really do anything about my voice, and I'm probably quite unlikely to get better at playing games. So criticizing those, unless you've got some really easy to follow tips that aren't going to make me more stressed out trying to do this than I would be normally. Those, you know, those are welcome. That's fine. Just I can't do anything about the voice or the personality. Those I'm stuck with those. But anyway. Second part of Oxygen not included, the monkey hole. We're up to cycle 10 and I'll hopefully have another episode for you soon. Like and subscribe and all that, and if you want to hear more of this voice and some other people's voices, mainly talking about comics, go seek out We Have Issues at wehaveissues.net, and that's all the weather. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.